Linda Yaccarino, chairman of NBCUniversal Advertising and Client Partnerships, and one of our big bosses, big major players, big bosses. And a friend, of course.
Only in service to what you guys do every day.
The kissing noise.
Thanks for having me.
And the chairman of Los Angeles 2028, Casey Wasserman.
So this up early on the West Coast for us.
I don't know, but successful people are up earlier, I think, typically. Anyway, this is embargo till now, right?
Yes.
Can you? How long will it take to explain exactly what we're talking about here? Because it seems like a long way off, but it's never too soon to start, I guess.
I think, first of all, thank you for having us here today. I think I can simply describe it as the most unique partnership, particularly in the world of sports, that brings together media and sponsorship like never before. I think it's important to talk about that we can all agree that the Olympics is the singular, most galvanizing event in the world that captures the hearts and minds of consumers and also brings an opportunity for brands that far exist long after the games, while we're in live for the games. So when you think about the massive transformation that's going on in advertising today, where consumers are demanding massive amounts of media on their own terms, and brands, when I sit down with CEOs and CMOs every single day, they're in search of scale with purpose. The Olympics and this partnership are the perfect answer to those needs that's going on
today. And it's not just, we may be saying LA 2028, but it's going to start on the earlier, I mean, we're covering all the Olympics.
Where we are probably 400 and change days out of the Tokyo Games.
Right. And that's definitely time to start working on it.
It's go time.
Hey, Casey, for viewers, so they understand the distinction about how this used to work before this joint venture was put together. Just explain how sponsorship was set up, because I think it would help sort of contextualize what this is all about.
So before the Olympics came back to the United States in Los Angeles in 2028, the USOC had a basket of rights that it owned, sponsorship rights for Team USA, the U.S. Olympic team, and the U.S. Paralympic team. And when any country gets the Olympics, the IOC regulates that they have to make a commercial arrangement with their National Olympic Committee because they don't want those two entities competing with each other. And so in our case, we made the United States Olympic Committee a guarantee and bought out their rights on sponsorship, licensing, and hospitality. And that created U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Properties, which is a subsidiary of LA 28. So that sort of laid the foundation for us to begin these conversations with NBCU. And what Linda said is exactly right. We are bringing together sponsorship and media, non-working and working dollars, so that we can actually answer the questions that advertisers have in a simple and straightforward way with the biggest property in the world.
How does this change the experience that I might have as a viewer of the Olympics, Linda?
You know, that's a really good question. If you rewind the last time the Olympics were in the United States, in Atlanta, there was only 171 hours of television programming for the Olympics. Fast forward, what will bring you for Tokyo across every screen will have over 7,000 hours. But most importantly, this new partnership in conjunction with LA 2028 unlocks the access for IP, for local activation. So you as a consumer will be able to experience the brands, the screens, the sports, every medal, every match, every competition completely for 17 days across the Olympics. So you'll get more on your own terms.
And flip it around, if I'm an advertiser, if I'm Coca-Cola, one of the big sponsors of the Olympics, how does this change the dynamic in terms of how I'm buying and how I'm interacting with these various different properties?
Easy to explain. One front door. So like Casey mentioned, never before in any sport have you been able to bring together media and sponsorship simultaneously. So as a brand that experiences long-term benefits by being an Olympic partner, you'll be able to unlock access to every piece of media or sponsorable opportunity as a singular brand with one conversation and one partnership.
The deal that Brian and Steve and Mark, I guess all these guys, that they arrived at a few years ago, at the time, our eyebrows went up because it didn't look like it cost that much more than what it was costing currently. In terms of advertising revenue, do you have an idea now how actually lucrative it's going to be versus what we paid back then? Is it going to go up a lot more than what the overall value for the rights were?
Well, I think the partnership itself really does expand and amplify the opportunity for brands. So it's logical to imagine why both LA 2028 and NBCU is so bullish about the opportunity. So if we can amplify value to the brands and bring more content to viewers, we obviously believe that it's a great business proposition. For brands themselves, when you associate with the Olympics, there's incredible economic impact because of the brand halo of associating with the Olympics, but they're also today what they're in search for social impact and cultural impact. So we're pretty bullish on the economics long term.
Hey, Casey, in terms of how this all came together, give us a little bit of the backstory, but also historically, how much did a city ultimately compete for sponsorship against some of the entertainment properties before this?
Well, it came together as, for my day job, I do this for a living, so I think about what advertisers want and need and how the changing landscape is going to create both challenges and opportunities for their business. And our ability to bring together these rights and to have a partner in NBCUniversal who clearly we don't need to convince on the power and the opportunity around the Olympic Games, created an opportunity for us to have this conversation. It actually started in Pyeongchang. And over the last year, with Linda's leadership, has been a really fun and exciting process and journey that led us to today. And in the past, yes, I imagine, obviously I wasn't running an Olympics before, but I would imagine if there was a Games in the U.S., that organizing committee would show up at an advertiser, the U.S. Olympic Committee might show up at an advertiser, and NBCU might show up at an advertiser. And that's actually not productive for the advertisers because it forces them to think about their dollars in different buckets. And what an advertiser wants is a simple solution to this very complicated landscape. And for the first time ever in any sports property, as Linda said, the Olympics is going to provide that in the American market.
Casey, what are you planning this out for 2028? It seems like a ways off. Were you living in LA in '84? Because I was. Did you go back then? I did, and we were petrified of the traffic that was going to happen, and you brought, I don't know, it went off without a hitch. It was like the greatest Olympics ever. But I would be worrying if I'd already be worrying, I think, about 2028, but, with all the congestion and everything else. But it can be done.
Well, it can and it will be done. Look, it's 10 years away or 9.5 years away. I was a 10-year-old in 1984. And obviously, it was a magical time in Los Angeles. And Peter, you brought this at the bar about as high as you could set it for me.
Right.
In this role. Having said that, LA is a city that has changed dramatically since 1984. In '84, we were still building freeways, and now we've got $100 billion of rail construction underway. And I'm not worried about how LA will receive the Olympics. That we are a city that loves the Olympics, that's passionate about hosting the Olympic Games. We poll at about 88%, which, as our mayor likes to say, is more than blue sky polls in Los Angeles. And we're ready. And 9.5 years, frankly, the one thing we can't buy more of is time, Joe. And so we are focused every day on doing our job. We're unique in that our Olympics isn't about managing costs. It's about growing revenue, because our cost, because we literally are building no venues, is pretty fixed. And so we're really focused on creating a tremendous economic success here.
Is it too early to ask for some tickets? I mean, I love track and field. I mean, it's just those are hard to come by. Let's get our request.
We'll certainly make a note.
I want to know how both of you think we're going to watch the Olympics in 2028. Meaning, NBC is just about to embark on a new OTT service. Obviously, they're the classic NBC properties. Who knows what the future really holds? Have you guys really talked or thought about what that even looks like?
Well, I think it's hard to imagine, and none of us can imagine what the impact of technology will be 10 years from now. But to my earlier comments about the amount of hours and the commitment to broadcasting, no matter what device or what screen, Lord knows, will exist then, but to go from 170 hours to 7,000 hours and that we're always on and that you will see everything live, whatever device you'll be able to consume it on 10 years from now, I'm quite confident that NBCU will be able to deliver that to people.
You remember the triple cast?
I do.
You guys old enough to remember the triple cast?
I do.
Yeah.
We become part of that. CNBC's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
But
more.
imagine the opportunity, just if we rewind to the last time the Olympics were in the U.S. in Atlanta. You had to watch live, and you had to watch. We would tape segments and broadcast it during prime time. So you had to sit, gather in your living room, the good old days as we call them, and watch it in your home. Now you have access real time to everything. So I suspect that will continue. How you will consume it, that's what will change.
All right. Well, 70-inch and high def, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's really, it gets better and better for the Olympics. And we're like 2,000 years old.
You don't need tickets. You have your big TV.
Yeah, I do. I don't like leaving my house. You're right. Anyway, Casey Wasserman, thank you.
Nice to see you, sir.
You need to leave and start working on it. Like after you leave right now, the studio. Go. You got something about to plan for 2028.
First thing I have to do is put your name on the top of the list, Joe. So then, then I can get back to this.
You said track and field,
works,
right?
Yeah,
Track and field.
Gymnastics. I think we like gymnastics a lot. Soccer. It was in the LA Coliseum last time. I saw the final game.
We'll make sure it happens again.
All right, thank you.
I'm
Linda.
putting in
Yaccarino.
basketball and ping pong. Okay.
Golf.
Oh, golf too. You could do that too. Okay.